How's it going, YouTube? This is going to be a part in a series regarding optics for your AR-15 style rifle. In this particular video, I'd like to cover some, pretty much do a comparison between a $160 Vortex Strikefire and how it compares to an Aimpoint CompML3, which is a lot more expensive. And we're going to help, well, try to give you guys some insight if it's worth it for what you plan to do with it. You know, I am not military, law enforcement. I'm just a regular guy who enjoys our sport as much as anyone. And let's just jump right into it. This is the Vortex Strikefire, $160. And the one on the right here is an Aimpoint CompML3, non-night vision, compatible with a 4 MOA dot. This one is riding in a LaRue mount, non-quick detach. This one is riding in a worn 30 millimeter quick detach mount. Just to cover some of the basic features of both, this is not going to be a really in-depth review on either of them because you'll find plenty out on YouTube with reasonable quality. This is just going to be more of a philosophy video if it's worth spending 3 times as much on that one as it is on this one. We'll start off with some features, like I said, on both. This does come, the Vortex Strikefire does come with a mount. It does come with these flip caps, battery, whatnot. The battery life is supposed to be good for, I think, over 1,000 hours of medium intensity. It has a red dot and a green dot. So let me see if I can find it. The green dot is absolutely worthless. You'll lose it in any sort of green vegetation or anything of that nature. The red dot, though, does, you know, obviously stand out. It gets pretty bright. I could use a couple more brightness settings. You know, on a bright sunny day in snow, you do have a tendency to lose the dot. That's all the brighter it gets. I don't know how many brightness settings. Nobody really cares. You know, what's the difference? It could use some more intensity. I'll just say that much. It is maybe an ounce heavier without weighing it relative to the Aimpoint. It is a little longer than the Aimpoint as well. So Aimpoint CompML3, again, if you guys want an in-depth review full of you know, weights and battery life, whatever, look somewhere else. This is more of an overview. This does come with scope caps, excuse me, lens caps, like you can see, very high quality. This is riding, again, in a LaRue mount. The CompML2s, ML3s, M2, M3, whatever, they do not come with mounts. A pretty big downside. So, you know, this, as I said, this package right here with a LaRue mount and the optic itself is pretty much 3 times as much as the Vortex. The glass is phenomenal in this sight. You can see there's almost 100% light transmission. Just turn that up so you guys can see it. The lenses are anti-reflective coated, and you can tell just by, you watch guys will be able to see this, but there's a blue tint or tone or whatever when you get the light just right, signifying the anti-reflective coating. Again, we're going to go over the specifics of the Aimpoint lineup in another video, but just to cover this one real quick. And speaking towards the glass, like we just talked about, on this Vortex, it is not anti-reflective coated, and it does not let in nearly the same amount of light as the Aimpoint does. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see this, but you can see there's definitely a darker shade looking through the optic relative to the Aimpoint. And I'm not sure how well that's going to show up on camera, but it is definitely noticeable in real life. It's just like looking through sunglasses. These red dot sights require a front iridium coating or whatever they make it out of to project the red dot back to your eye. And I would assume that's the reason there's some less than perfect light transmission through the Vortex relative to the Aimpoint. That's just one quick observation. That's the first thing you're going to notice when comparing the two. They're both for MOA dots, which is my preference for red dot sights. Everybody's going to have their own opinion on that. You know, you can see the user interface is a little different. You turn this the Vortex on the side and adjust it. Its brightness levels on the side relative to the Aimpoint, which is all on one little twisty dial thing. That pretty much sums up. You guys are going to be able to tell, obviously, some visual differences. The glass is a little different, definitely noticeable. And the weight's similar, essentially the same, but the length is a little different. Hopefully you guys will see that. It's about ½ an inch or so, but pretty negligible. All right, like we discussed, the Aimpoint is pretty much 3 times as expensive as this Vortex Strikefire. Those are both new prices. We can talk about the used market for both. I have seen these Vortex optics go for $120 in pretty reasonable condition too. While the Aimpoints, the ML3s and M3s were introduced in 2005, I believe. Because of that, there is quite a few of them on the used market in, you know, varying conditions. Some are pretty beat up, some are essentially brand new, but they can be had for right around $300 to $350 if you're patient. Maybe even less if you get one that's been painted or pretty dinged up. But you know, I would trust this sight to function perfectly after it's been thrashed for a tour in Afghanistan or whatever. I would absolutely have no doubt in its capability to do so. There are fakes on the market, you know, for any high dollar optic. You know, Aimpoints, EOTechs, Trijicons, Loophole, whatever, Night Force, what, you know, there's replicas out there, airsoft scopes, whatever. So you got to be careful about that. But I know for certain, EOTech and Aimpoint, you can call their customer service line, ask the seller of the site in question or any if you can have the serial number of it. You provide the serial number then to Aimpont, for example, and they will either confirm its authenticity with the manufacturer date or say, no, that's not ours. You know, it's a fake. So that, you know, it takes 5 minutes, and you can ensure its authenticity with that. You know, get good pictures of it, whatever. Just like buying any used goods. But we're gonna just focus on buying new here for this video. So you're looking at 3 times more for the Aimpoint than you are for the Vortex. Is it worth it? What do you want to do with it is the first thing you need to ask yourself. Are you military or law enforcement? Then, without question, I would buy the Aimpoint. Maybe even, you know, EOTech or whatever. Different sites, different preferences, whatever. But I would definitely go for the Aimpoint. But for you and me, average Joe civilians out just plinking or doing some running and gunning, whatever, is it worth spending $700 or in that ballpark for an Aimpoint where you can have this Vortex for $200 easily? In my opinion, yes, it was. If you guys are like me, and I'm sure you are, you know, you take pride in your equipment, and you know it's something you're gonna have for the rest of your life. For me, it was worth spending that much for an Aimpoint. The Vortex does everything the Aimpoint does essentially. It just does not do it better. The Aimpoint is better in every way except for cost, obviously. And it's up to the individual to decide if it's worth it. I would absolutely be satisfied with slapping this Vortex Strikefire on my AR-15 and going to town, do whatever you need to do with it. Whether it be, again, like we talked about, just at the range, punching paper, out in the desert, out in the woods, whatever, having fun. I would absolutely expect it to hold up, and from what I can tell, it will do just that. But if you have the means to acquire an Aimpoint, whether it be the used market, selling off goods that you haven't used forever, old bikes or old guns that you don't look at, whatever, the Aimpoint is absolutely worth it. I'm sorry if that's not the definitive answer you guys are looking for, but the reality is they're both phenomenal red dot sights that should last a very long time. And as always, guys, stay tuned for more videos like this. I appreciate any and all constructive criticism, feedback, comments, likes or dislikes on the video. So far, it's been overwhelmingly positive with some other gun and firearm videos that I've done. So if you guys want to see more, let me know. If you don't, well, don't let me know. Any suggestions are appreciated. We do have another Aimpoint video coming up right after this. I will be producing it this afternoon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching.